This is the Snowbiz Now Entertainment Network.
I'm going to introduce ourselves. I'm a president of AIDS Society of Asia and the Pacific. Let me introduce Professor Kim. He represents the local organizing community. And then Ms. Kwan, he came here for city of Busan because we are going to, the city of Busan is going to host 10th ICAAP.
My name is Min-Gi Kim. I'll give you my name card if you necessary. And I'm the representative of 10th ICAAP organizing committee. It's my great honor to have a meeting with you.
Hello, my name is Myung-Hwan from Busan City Government Convention Department. So Busan City will do our best to host the next 10th ICAAP conference successfully. So it's the second largest metropolitan city in South Korea. Busan located southern part of Korea, and we operate various Asian direct flights from Japan and China and Indonesia, and including all the other East Asia countries. And also Busan City already hosted a very famous international mega events such as World Cup, World Cup and APEC Summit 2005 and 2000 Asian Games and so on. So we have the kind of proven capability to host such as big mega events like 10th ICAAP. So, and then we have especially characteristics, have tourism destination and tourism facilities, but also we have the kind of convention infrastructures and convention facilities, so you will not going to have any difficulties or uncomfortable during the Congress.
The theme of the 10th ICAAP is different voices, united action. So that means every different stakeholders, they might have different voices in fighting off AIDS epidemic. However, I think we believe it is the time for us to create the united action to increase the maximization our effort in fighting off AIDS epidemic. So what we want to deliver to the world, what message we want to deliver to the world in the field of 10th ICAAP is that let's unite our action against the AIDS epidemic and fight together. However, we have different voices, but fight together, we unite actions.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Snow with ActionEqualsLife.com. I was wondering if you could address the attitudes in Korea, as you understand them, around HIV and AIDS, MSM, TG, the different impacted communities. What have you learned from the other ICAAPs, and what do you hope to teach at this one?
10차 대회를 활용을 했으면 하고, 이번 10차 대회를 통해서 한국 국민, 특히 전 국민들에게 에이즈와 이런 것에 대한 편견을 완전히 타파하는 하나의 계기로 훌륭한 디딤돌로 삼았으면 하는 희망입니다.
Yes, Korea, South Korea is kind of conservative country. In other words, the stigma and discrimination against AIDS is kind of widespread in Korea, which is not really good. So what we want to achieve through 10th ICAAP is that we want to take advantage of 10th ICAAP to change the perspective and behavior of the society and people, including political leaders. So we want to change in a perspective which has been widespread in Korean Peninsula by using 10th ICAAP. Secretary General of UN, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, also described South Korea as one of the poor performance countries in terms of advocating AIDS epidemic. So he strongly recommend the Korean government to improve to change their perspective toward the living with HIV and AIDS epidemic. What he said is that we recognize the number of participants of youth has been increasing during the previous ICAAPs. Of course, South Korea will be emphasizing that field. So we are going to encourage the youth to participate on 10th ICAAP. Especially, we are also interested in youth because even though as you know, AIDS the youth, young people are pretty much quite susceptible to HIV infection. So we want to encourage the Korean youth too, to participate in ICAAP. So definitely, the youth, will be one of the most important parts, for the 10th ICAAP.
그리고 전 유스 청소년들의 참여를 좀 진득하기 위해서 부차 발리 대회보다 더 많은 장학금이나 예산 기부를
And also, 10th ICAAP LOC is interested in the attracting more money to provide the scholarships to the youth.
To talk about the city of Busan's tourism spots. So we have city line tours. It's like going to the coastline. So we have 6 beautiful beaches like Bali. So weather is really mild during the Congress. So you can do a lot of marine sports and do beach sports items in Busan. We have 6 beautiful beaches, as I said right before. So the atmosphere is kind of similar with the Bali, but plus we have a well-established convention facilities and convention infrastructure. So in the center of Mexico, you can accommodate up to more than 5,000 accommodations. You can use it, and then the location it would be you can do a lot of facilities in more than 5 minutes. And also we have a cultural experience. I mean, historical buildings and historical sites, the Korean traditional temples we have, and in addition we have a shopping street, like very developed shopping streets. And then we have a cost competitiveness. It's not that expensive, it's not that cheap, but kind of middle cost competitiveness. And then finally, you can do a lot of well-being tours. You can experience Korean, temple stays and Korean hot springs, and you can experience fusion style foods. So please come in 2011 and enjoy the Congress, and then feel free to the city of Busan's attractions.
My name is Prakash Tyagi and I represent the International HIV/AIDS Alliance here in this conference. You just said that the Secretary General of the UN has said that Korea is not performing very well with regard to HIV/AIDS, and definitely this conference becomes an opportunity to accelerate this movement and do well for the country. So that's very, very good for people like us who are media in this conference and probably going to be a part of media in the next conference. What would you like to do us to be a part of improving that performance? How can we support in the upcoming conference?
I'm going to answer that that question. Yeah, definitely. Even though I'm a Korean too, so as Korean, as I said before, I recognize the Koreans perspective, including government officials toward the HIV issue is kind of not active, and they are not really cooperative. So we want to take advantage of 10th ICAAP to change their perspective as well as the perspective of Korean people. So what we want to get help from you in the process that when you come to Korea in 2011, actually, I would like to, press media like you to, cover, more and more, issues on HIV and AIDS, and then promote, public awareness of HIV issue, in Korean society. The name of ICAAP is AIDS Society of Asia and the Pacific. However, if you look at the previous ICAAPs, actually we didn't have many delegates from the Pacific area. So after we select Indonesia as the venue for the 9th ICAAP, we asked Indonesia LOC, please try to invite and provide more scholarships, for the delegates from the Pacific Islands. So I could say this is the first successful ICAAP which have the largest number of delegates from the Pacific. So as president, I would like to ask him, okay, are you going to keep this trend? 남태평양 쪽에서도 계속 사람들 많이 올 수 있도록 조치를 어떻게 해줄 건지.
이번에 처음으로 65개국에 4,000명이 넘는 대표단이 참가를 해주셨다는 그런 놀라운 성과를 들었습니다. 지금까지 보통 3,200, 3,500 정도가 참석을 했었는데 이번 9차 콩그레스에 이렇게 많은 패시픽으로부터의 대표단이 온 것은 이 발리 LOC 쪽에 아주 지대한 공헌이 있었다고 생각을 하고 그 전통을 한국에서도 지켜나가도록 최대한도로 노력을 하겠습니다.
Yeah, he saw that Indonesia LOC has been really done well in terms of attracting the largest number of delegates in ever history. So on average, about 3,200 or 3,500 delegates participated in the Congress. However, right here, they have more than 4,000 delegates. And also another success is that they were successful in attracting delegates from the Pacific area. So 10th ICAAP LOC definitely will do their best to keep this tradition and also to attract the people from the Pacific Islands as well as in other parts of the region too. When the venue selection committee of the ICAAP visited Korea, the Korea government they expressed strong commitment and support for the 10th ICAAP.
그다음에 두 번째로 그 실사단이 관심을 많이 가지시는 부분이 예컨대 비자에 대해서 어느 정도 비자 발급에 편의를 줄 것이냐라고 하는 부분이었는데 비자 발급과 여러분들의 통관 이것은 정부로부터 약속받은 것이 올림픽 대표단, 올림픽 참가 선수에 준하는 예우를 해드리겠다라고 하는 것이었습니다.
One of the questions they got from the venue selection committee of ICAAP was that they asked the Korean government about the visa. What kind of services could you provide delegates for in terms of getting a visa? So Korean government answered, they will treat ICAAP delegates just like Olympic athletes. So they will provide the best service as much as possible to the ICAAP delegates.
Listen to the message of my song. Within you is the power to be strong. No matter who you are, no matter what you feel, this is your moment now, and your life is real. So get tested and live longer and be strong.
This is the Snowbiz Now Entertainment Network.